And there's a verse in here, verse 4, says, "For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods." Well, we actually sing a hymn here that says, "Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised." And I didn't realize it till last night, but there's several songs that have been written because of a psalm, and we'll touch on a few of those. So Psalm 96. Open us up in prayer, Brother Martin.
Dear Lord, gracious Heavenly Father, King, we come to you, Father, giving you all the praise and honor to you, Lord. Thank you for the privilege to come to the house and worship you, dear Father. Hear your precious word. Dear Father, we ask you to fill my brother.
Amen. All right, Psalm 96. Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song. Sing unto the Lord all the earth. Sing unto the Lord. Bless his name. Show forth his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among all the heathen, his wonders among all people. For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. And idols here, the Hebrew word is Elilim, E-L-I-L-I-M. It means nothings, vanities, emptinesses, things of naught. So what this psalm is saying is not only are these idols the true God, but they are nothing. So, and Brother Jimmy's preached lots of messages on idols. We can make anything an idol. Whatever we put before God becomes our idol, whatever it may be. I've done it many times, bad as I hate to say it. Verse 6, honor and majesty are before him, strength and beauty are his sanctuary. Give unto the Lord, O ye kindreds of people, give unto the Lord glory and strength. Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering and come into his courts. O worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. Say among the heathen that the Lord reigneth. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar in the fullness thereof. Let the field be joyful, and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness, and the people with his truth. Not subjective truth, his truth. Anybody got anything before we go to 97? And for reference, in Psalm 96, from verse 7 through 13 is a millennial, so it's future. It's not happened yet. Psalm 95 focuses on God's people. It's a millennial psalm. 96 focuses on the Gentile nations during the millennium. And 97 focuses on Jesus on the high, and all things will be under his control. Psalm 97. The Lord reigneth, let the earth rejoice, let the multitude of isles be glad thereof. Clouds and darkness are round about him, righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. Remember, this is millennial. A fire goeth before him and burneth up his enemies round about. His lightnings enlightened the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Not just the Jews, but all people. Confounded be all they that serve graven images, that boast themselves of idols. Worship him, all ye little gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoiced because of thy judgments, O Lord. For thou, Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted above all gods. Ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the Lord, ye righteous, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. I mean, there's all kinds of directions you could go out of these, but it's pretty straightforward as far as the psalm itself is concerned. There was a song written out of Psalm 98 by a guy named Isaac Watts in 1719. And we sing it at Christmas, and it's joy to the world. But it was not written as a Christmas song. It was written for the expected second advent of Christ. And when you read it and you put that in perspective, it makes a lot of sense, the reason that he wrote it out of this psalm. I think he used this psalm and Genesis 3, I believe, but you'd have to do a little research. So Psalm 98 says, O sing unto the Lord a new song, for he hath done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm hath gotten him the victory. Who sits on the right hand of the Father? The Lord hath made known his salvation. His righteousness hath he openly showed in the sight of the heathen. He hath remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise. Sing unto the Lord with the harp and with the voice of a psalm. With trumpets and sound of cornet, make a joyful noise before the Lord the King. Let the sea roar, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands, let the hills be joyful together before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world, and the people with equity. Yeah, he's going to sit on the throne and judge, and it'll be pretty quick, the way I understand it, in the millennium. Something I forgot to say, that Psalms 93 through 100, I believe it's 100, they're all called royal psalms. And it's because they're celebrating King Jesus during his millennial reign. And that's the reason they call him a royal psalm. Anybody got anything before we go to Psalm 99? Okay. Psalm 99. The Lord reigneth, let the people tremble. He sitteth between the cherubims, let the earth be moved. The Lord is great in Zion, and he is high above all the people. Let them praise thy great and terrible name. And you can put the word awesome there in the place of terrible, would be more appropriate for our language. Let them praise thy great and terrible name, for it is holy. The king's strength also loveth judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou executest judgment and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt ye the Lord our God, and worship at his footstool, for he is holy. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name. And they called upon the Lord, and he answered them. And I think the reason that these three men are grouped together is because they interceded on people's behalf. I mean, there's several times there that the good Lord was going to destroy Israel and find him another people to deal with, Moses or Aaron, pleaded on their behalf. Samuel pleaded on their behalf. So I think that's why they're in here. I'm not positive of that, but I believe that's so. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies and the ordinance that he gave them. Thou answeredest them, O Lord our God. Thou wast a God that forgavest them, though thou tookest vengeance on their inventions. Well, that piqued my interest. Inventions here means practices or evil deeds. Thou answeredest them, O Lord our God. Thou wast a God that forgavest them, though thou tookest vengeance of their inventions, practices or evil deeds. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his holy hill, for the Lord our God is holy. Now, I don't think we can get our mind around what holy is. I can't. Holy is used, I wrote it down somewhere, 611 times in the Bible. And most of those times it refers to God or something pertaining to God. Holy. When I think back to Moses, when, he had a very close relationship with God. And he asked God to be able to see him, behold him. He wanted to see God. And God said, no man can look upon me. But I'll put you in the cleft of the rock here, and when I pass by, I'll tell you, and you can look at my hinder parts. We can't, I just don't think we can perceive how holy that he is. I have no reference of that. One of these days we will behold, but right now, I don't have it. Anybody got anything before we go to Psalm 100? All right, this is the last of the royal songs. Let me find it here. Verse 4, again, it says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. Well, we sing a song here. That it says, well, Sally will know better than I would, but I will enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his, let me get it right. I'll enter in. Yeah, I'll enter his courts with praise. We sing that song here. This song was written by a lady named Leona von Bretthorst, and she was born in Stinking Creek, Tennessee. So, and that she wrote that somewhere around World War II, I think. So, Psalm of praise. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. Just think where I would be if I were left to my own devices. It would not be good, you know. He wakes me up every morning. Left to my own devices, it would probably not be a pretty sight. Scary times there. But verse 3 says, we are his people and the sheep of his pasture. So if you go to John chapter 10, and this is Christ speaking, verses 14 through 17, says, I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and I am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so I know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. He's talking about the Jews and the Gentiles here. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. So Jesus is the good shepherd, of which this psalm is speaking of. And Lord, if we only really understood what went on right there. It says, I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known of mine. It's about that personal relationship. We can know about Jesus, but we need to know Jesus. You know, personal relationship. Very important. All right. This next set of Psalms, 101 through 106, speaks of praises to the King. And this is the last set of Psalms, I'm pretty sure, of Book 4 of Psalms. Yeah. So 106 is the last book before we hit Book 5 of Psalms. And these are kind of grouped together. And Psalm 101 is a Psalm of David. And it's a song to the king that rules in righteousness and judgment. Some people believe this is written of David. If it was in his very early life. But if anything, this is how we should do things if we are in this position. Pretty interesting if you look at it from that perspective. It says, I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, O Lord, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. And this is a perfect example of the same spelling of a word does not have the same meaning. They're close. You know, the first perfect here, in a perfect way, means a complete or a whole heart. Okay? But if you get down here at the end of the verse, it says with a perfect heart. And they're two different words when you look them up. And I did not write down the Hebrew word. I apologize. But it means a heart of integrity. You know, so when you read something, don't just assume that it means what you think it means. Look it up. Because it can change the whole outlook of it. It says, I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Well, froward here means distorted, false, or crooked. Okay? So, a distorted, false, or crooked heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath a high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. Mine eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I like that. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. Look at our government. Oh my goodness. Deceit everywhere. I read something. It's been a while. I lose track of time. It could have been a few years. But the average citizen in the United States has, with all the laws that are on the books, will commit at least one felony in a 24-hour period. The average person, because there's so many laws. I mean, we don't have a justice system, we have a legal system. And if you've ever dealt with it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It does not operate off common sense. Common sense is not common in the justice system. It's disturbing to see what you have to deal with. But anyway, whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath a high look and a proud heart will I not suffer. Mine eye shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of the Lord. In 1 Thessalonians, it tells us to abstain from the very presence of evil, appearance of evil. And refrain, and it means to refrain, abstain, or hold oneself off, stay away from. My goodness, you can't hardly go out the door anymore. And we may be approaching that time that the Bible talks about, as in the days of Noah. You know, the earth was filled with violence. I was telling somebody, maybe last week, I was watching a guy and they were asking him about World War III and blah, 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 blah. He said, listen, he said, World War III is in progress. It's just not a hot war like we perceive it to be, like World War II. He said, currently there's 169 armed conflicts on planet Earth. 169. I don't know if you saw, but they just opened a munitions plant in Texas to make 105 millimeter howitzer round. And I can't remember their capacity. Their goal is 100,000 a month. What do you need 100,000 rounds of 105 millimeter for? 105 millimeters, 4 inch, about this long. The projectile, the shell's about this long. But they're gearing up for something. You know, I believe Germany, France, and somebody else already have legislation in motion to reinstate the draft, as well as United States. I've seen the paperwork of it. I talked to a feller yesterday, told me he had 2 months and he could retire out of the reserves. He went out of the military into the reserves, and he said he had 2 months. I was like, I don't know if you get out or not, brother. He said, they're wanting war bad. Crazy. I mean, if they would read their book, they could see that Russia is there in the end. So you don't need to be over there kicking the hornet's nest. By the way, I did get into a hornet's nest a few weeks ago. That was not good. Don't kick the hornet's nest. So, I mean, you see these things going on. Hey, we know who's in control. But we'll talk about David here just a minute. If this applies to David, it could have in his early life. But later in life, he had some mishaps. But I would like to be half the man that David was. So some of his failures was his sin with Bathsheba, which was adultery that led to murder. You can read about that in 2 Samuel chapters 11 and 12. He failed to discipline his children, Amnon and Absalom. You can read about that in 2 Samuel chapter 13, 14, and 15, the grief that caused him. He had problems with his generals, Joab and Abishai, and I didn't write down where that was, but I think it's around 2 Samuel chapters 11 and 12, 13, and then maybe in 17. Just do a word search on Joab and Abishai to pull it up. And his most trusted advisor, Ahithophel, betrayed him. You can read about that in 2 Samuel 15, 16, and 17. His most trusted advisor tried to take part in this coup to get David gone. But if you do your reading and do a little research, Ahithophel was the great-grandfather of Bathsheba. And he never forgave David for what he'd done with Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite. So I guess that's where blood thicker than water comes in. You know, he never forgave him. And when he found an opportunity to stick it in his back, he did. But it did not play out for him well. You can read the whole account. But now David had a lot of accomplishments. He reigned for 40 years. He expanded the borders of Israel. He defeated all of Israel's enemies that God told him to. He gathered all the wealth that was required to build the temple, which of course we know Solomon actually built it, but he built it on David's dime. He wrote the majority of the Psalms, and he established a dynasty that eventually the Messiah came out of, Jesus. Jerusalem is called today, still called the city of David. Jesus, one of his titles is the Son of David. But probably one of the most things that really stands out to me is he had several opportunities to kill King Saul. And in our eyes, he would have been justified to do so. But he said he would not touch God's anointed. And I admire that, because he had several opportunities to take Saul out of the picture, and he wouldn't have had to been on the run for 20 years, but he did not. He let God work it out. So if God don't work it out to your liking in 20 minutes, just think David took 20 years. I'm just saying. So, this is not really a report card on David. In no way I could even stand in judgment of David. But if this does apply to David, it would probably have been in his earlier life. But yeah, don't be hard on him. I guarantee I wouldn't have done as well as he did. So, anybody got any questions or comments? They give us the sign there a little ways back. All right, if not, take a break and we'll see what the preacher's got.